Hello friends, welcome to Shiksharthi. In this video, we'll be discussing the solutions of assignment number 1. So let's start. So before we begin, there are few things that we need to understand. So every question has basically two ways of getting solved. The first way is the basic way, which is a time consuming way. And the second way is the best way, which is the time saving way. I feel that there is no other method in which a question can be done, or if there is any other method by which a question can be done, will always lie between the basic method and the best method. Next thing which is very important here is, we will not decide which method is better between them. I repeat, we will not decide which method is better between them, because many a time what happens is, it is all dependent on the presence of mind the time when you are attempting the question. So maybe sometimes what happens is, the presence of mind is such which makes me attempt the question only in the basic way. In that case, that becomes the best way. Or the presence of mind makes me attempt the question in the best possible, which is time saving way, which in itself is the best way of attempting the question. So let's start. So starting off with question number 1, which basically talks about that a room has 3 doors and 2 windows. Now it makes no difference if I take 2 doors and 3 windows, or if I take 2 windows and 3 doors. And we will see this during the interaction. So there are 2 parts. The first part talks about in how many ways can a thief standing outside enter the room. Enter or exit the room. This is the first part. And the second part is, in how many ways can the thief enter and exit. So if I see, before I begin with the question, something that is important here is that I should have an initial time spent on the introspection, how to attempt the question, right? So in the very first place, we need to understand what is the difference between or and. Okay, so or basically is a word which is just like saying A or B, in which you are supposed to add the cases because the cases will be mutually exclusive, and is wherein you are supposed to multiply the cases or whatever it is, wherein we have some intersection in between. So if I talk about the basic way of attempting the question, we can divide this question in 2 ways, as we discussed earlier. So the basic way here is, let us talk about entry, exit. And when I am talking about enter or exit, right? So whether if I talk about entry, how many points? So I can write down W1, W2, D1, D2, D3. This is just symbolic of there are 2 windows, and this is just symbolic of there are 3 doors. So I will just add these cases. And these cases sum up to how much? 5 cases. So there are 5 ways in which I can enter. And similarly, there are 5 ways in which I can exit. Now, entry and exit, they do not have any point of intersection. So what will we do? We will simply add. And what are the total number of ways that we get here? We get 10 ways. So this is the basic way of attempting the question. This is the answer. Okay. Now, what is the best possible way? The best possible way comes out of the basic way only, which is, I could have said, entry, there are 5 ways. Exit, there are 5 ways. Total number of ways are how many? 5 plus 5, which is equal to 10. Similarly, now when we talk about and, so we'll have to make cases broadly. So the basic case here will be what? I enter through a window, exit through a window. I enter through a window, exit through a door. I enter through a door, exit through a window. I enter through a door and exit through a door. These are broadly 4 cases. So now once we have decided these 4 cases, then we will see as to how many cases will I get here. So just to explain you in one of the cases only, in the remaining cases you can understand it yourself. So when I say that here, if I enter the room through, if the thief enters the room through a window and exits through a window, it is just like saying what? W1, 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 W2, W2, W1 and W2, W2. There is no restriction in terms of the thief, can enter or exit through any window. So the thief can enter through the same window and exit through the same window, which is just like saying 2 into 2. So here in the first case, we call it as an addition rule. In the second case, we are doing what? This is nothing but product rule. So OR is symbolic of addition and is symbolic of multiplication. So when you find out the total number of cases here, now these cases are mutually exclusive, which is just like saying what? When you add all these cases, you get the answer as 25. Another perspective here is, I can imagine that this is just like a 2-digit number, wherein one is the entry point and the other is the exit point. How many points of entry? 5. How many points of exit? 5. Product rule, which is nothing but 5 square. This is the best way of approaching the same question. Moving on to the next question. So the next question talks about, again the next question has 2 subparts. Talking about the first subpart, it talks about how many double-digit squares can be calculated. Please do not get confused by the language of the question. The question has been given in such a way so that you get confused as if this question has to do something about the squares. It is just talking about double-digit numbers only. Please relate. Let us first talk about how many double-digit numbers can be formed. So we know that the double-digit numbers start from 10 and end on how many? Which number? 99. How many double-digit numbers can be formed? 90 of them. Now you can calculate the squares of these double-digit numbers only, right? So square had more or less no relevance in the question, and it just wanted you to understand it is talking about how many double-digit numbers exist. So there are 2 ways of doing it. I find out the largest possible double-digit number, which is how much? 99. What is the largest possible single-digit number? When I subtract this, I get what? 90. Now what are these 90? This 90 is the count of all the double-digit numbers that start from a 10 and end on the 99. This is the basic way of doing it. Now what is the best way? The best way here is product rule. So again we are talking about how to convert. I will not say that the question is on permutation combination. Why should I say this? The question is merely on calculations. And can't I understand it like this, that the first step for permutation combination is nothing but calculations only. And what is calculation? Which are the operators that we are using here? We are using addition and multiplication. Okay, so moving forward, we could have said what? We are forming a double-digit number TU, wherein tens digit will be what? I mean, how many digits can I use in the tens place? Digits 1 to 9. And how many digits can I use in the units place? 0 to 9. Now 0 to 9, how many possibilities? 10 possibilities. And 1 to 9 in the tens place, how many possibilities? 9 possibilities. So in total, how many possibilities will I get? 9 into 10, which is 90 possibilities. Okay, taking it further, talking about the B part. So now the B part talks about there are 2 octal numbers 7, 7 and 4, 5, and they are multiplied with each other. And here I will talk about the best possible way first, and then I talk about the basic way. There is a reason behind this, and you understand the reason yourself. So whenever I have the same number of digits, I mean the same type of digits, maybe this is something to do with special multiplication. Or let us say I don't know special multiplication. In that case, I should know how to do it in the basic way. So first I'll give you a spice here. The spice here is I'll talk about the best possible way, which will give me the answer in approximately 5 seconds. Because if I calculate it the basic way, it is going to take me at least 1 to 1.5 minutes to calculate the same. Okay, so what am I suggesting? Let us say that this is A and this is B, wherein A is greater than or equal to B. Right? In this case, what am I supposed to write? The answer will come forward in 2 parts. You have already learned, you have seen my videos in which I have been talking about the answer being divided into the number of coaches and the engine. So here I am talking about the engine. The answer is divided into 2 parts, wherein the engine is 1 lesser than B, which is 44, which is 4, 4. Now, if I talk about the first coach, you are just supposed to understand it like this. How much do I need to add to a 4 to get a 7, which is 3? How much do I need to add to a 4 to get a 3? I mean to get a 7. So you get the answer as 4433. So you get the answer approximately in 3 to 4 seconds had you known this thing in advance, which is the best possible way. Now if you don't know this, still you know the basic way of multiplying a 2-digit number with another 2-digit number, which is what I have done here. Now in this case, I have not written it in the subscript format which I have advocated in my videos. Now what further will I do? Now I know that both of these are octal numbers. Octal means base 8. So now these are just like, this is the engine of the train, this is the first coach, and this is the second coach. Now when I talk about final answer, you know that for the final answer I am supposed to move from the right hand side to the left hand side. So what will I do? I'll treat this as a dividend. I hope you are aware of the fact that dividend is equal to divisor into question plus the remainder. Now what will be the divisor here? The divisor here would be the base itself, the number system itself. So when I divide this by 8, the quotient gets carried here, which is 8 into 4 is 32. And then I subtract and then I get the remainder. How much is the remainder here? 3. Now in this case, it is no longer a 63. It becomes what? 67. So 8. So the question gets carried over here. 8 into 8 is a 64. 67 minus 4 is how much? 3. Right? And now this becomes how much? 36, which is 28 plus 8 is the new dividend. Now 36 when divided by 8 gives me 8 into 4 is 32. 36 minus 32 is 4, and this 4 comes down as such. Please relate. The answer is 4433. Okay? You will come across this method the time when we talk about special multiplications. Okay. Now talking about question number 3. So when I talk about question number 3, it talks about in a 2-digit number. I mean, if I forget about the language for the time being, all I need to understand in this question is not greater than. Okay. Now what is the interpretation of not greater than? So if I say not greater than something, it does not mean lesser than only. It means equal to also. This is the point that you are supposed to understand. Once you have understood this, because normally people would be making this mistake, they will only consider this and maybe they don't consider this. But not greater than means what? Either lesser than or equal to. Once you know this, then you can write down all possible cases, or another, I mean, when you write down all possible cases, you are able to find out the correct answer, or you can apply the product rule as we had discussed in the earlier questions. Because this question is now no longer different from the earlier ones the moment you interpret this. Right? So once you have interpreted this, it is just like saying a 2-digit number, the units place will be what? It will be taking digits from 1 to 5, which are 5 possibilities. And the 10th digit will be taking which possibility? A 5 to a 9. Now when I say 5 to a 9, how many possibilities? 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 5 possibilities. So how many such numbers can be formed? 5 into 5, 25. This is the best possible way. The basic way is you write down all the numbers. So how will you write down all the numbers? 51 to 55 and so on. Right? And then you count down all the numbers. Still it adds up to a 25 only. Okay. Talking about the next question, which is question number 4. Now this may seem to be slightly different, but the question is not at all difficult. So whenever you come across a question, naturally you may or you may not have seen the question earlier. So that should not boggle you in the very first place. At the same time, if the question is different, it does not mean that it is difficult. Right? So if I talk about this number, a small reasoning, let us say I don't know how to solve this question, I can take some special cases. I can always scale it down. And there are 2 ways of scaling down a question. One is I can take special cases to scale it down, or the other thing is I scale it down by reducing the number of digits in case if it is a question on numbers. But here I cannot reduce the number of digits because it is already given that it is a 3-digit number. Both of them are 3-digit numbers only. So in that case, how will I scale down this question? I'll just take some examples. Now what are the examples that I'm going to take? I know that there is one 3-digit number, and then from here I'm subtracting another 3-digit number, such that the result is a natural number. So the very first thought that should come to your mind is that this HTU should be greater than H dash, T dash and U dash. Both of these are 3-digit numbers only. Then only it will give you a natural number which is always positive. It is a positive integer. Once you have understood this, then you can take examples. For example, I can start off with 999 minus 999. But I will not take this case. Why will I not take this case? Because the answer is not a natural number. So I can always start off with another example here, which is 999 minus the largest possible triple digit number, which is 998, given the kind of situation. The situation is the answer should be a natural number. And similarly, 999 minus 900, 999 minus 899, and 999 minus the smallest possible triple digit number. I'll repeat. So what am I using? I'm using the law of extremes, as we had discussed earlier. What is the law of extremes? What is the largest possible number that I can subtract from this? And what is the least possible number that I can subtract? Least possible 3-digit number that I can subtract from a largest possible 3-digit number. Now, in this case, I get only 1 digit. In this case, I get 3 digits. So law of extreme says there will be other cases also in between. So if I am getting the least case as 1 digit and the greatest case as 3 digit, I would always have a case in between as 2 digits also. So how many cases in total? 3 cases. Okay, taking it from here now, talking about the next question, which is question number 5. So question number 5 basically talks about there are two-digit numbers 6u into t5. Now this question reminds me of the fact that when I am attempting the questions, there should be something like a strategy to attempt the paper. Now what is a strategy? If the time limit that has been given to you is 15 minutes only, which was the time that was given to you, I should spend somewhere around 1 to 1.5 minutes in screening the 10 questions first. Now when I say screening, what are you supposed to do? You are supposed to find out those questions which you feel, based on your earlier practice, is able to help you to solve that particular question which you may or may not be seeing for the very first time. I hope you are getting it. So in that case, this is a question which should not have been selected in the first screening. What is the reason? The question is exhaustive, and many people understand that the moment the question is exhaustive, it becomes difficult. It is not true, but the definition of exhaustive here is it is going to make me take more time, and I already have a time constraint. So I will leave this question for the timing, though the answer has been given here to you. So for example, if I talk about the first part, the answer will be what? If I talk about the first part, the answer will be, I know that if a 5 is multiplied with an odd number, it always gives me a 5. And 5, whenever multiplied by an even number, it gives me a 0. So the question was given to check this only, talking about the first part. The second part is fairly difficult. And the answer for the second part is data is insufficient. Why? I have given the answer here. So you need to interpret this. Okay, talking about question number 6. So when I move forward to question number 6, now the questions are fairly easy, and there is a reason why I am saying this, which is why you were suggested to watch everything given in the video minutely, and thereafter this gives you a reason to watch each and everything minutely given in the videos, and then practice it. Okay. So for me, this is just like saying a 3-digit 234 multiplied by another 3-digit 456. How? Now this is the hundreds place, this is the tens place, and this is the units place. So hundreds place means what? 10 square, and tens place means what? To the power 1, and units place means what? To the power 0. So you just had to write it in the format. This can be understood as 2x square or 2a square plus 3a plus 4, and this can be understood as 4a square plus 5a plus 6, which was just like saying you had to multiply a 234 with 456, but you are supposed to use the interim answer as the final answer. Now what is the interim answer here as the final answer? The moment I get this, I will not go further, which is this. And in that case, I will say what? This is just like saying a to the power 0, a to the power 1, a square, a cube, and a to the power 4. These are the coefficients. Hope you understood this. Okay, taking it forward, question number 7 is also related with the same question. So you see the same question, which is why I always say that calculations is treated as an underdog. People do not take calculations as a topic at all. Now here calculations was associated with polynomial equations, and here the calculations is being associated with percentage increase. So the question says, this immigration and all these things is just like trying to befool you. It is a disguised question. All you need to have understood here is they are giving you two increments. There are two increments of 134% and 356%. So I know that 100% means what? No increase, no decrease. So when I'm increasing it by 134%, now it should become how much? 234%. Similarly, when I'm increasing it by 356%, it is just like saying now it becomes how much? 456%. So you just had to do what? You had to multiply 234% with 456% and then find out the net percentage. So while you're doing this, you need to understand that you are multiplying it by this and finally you are finding out the percentage. So this has to be understood as 234 divided by 100 into 456 divided by 100 into 100%, which gives you this answer, which is how much? 1067. You just had to interpret this. And then you had to multiply it by a 10,000, which gives you this as the final answer. Another perspective here is, I know that here the number becomes how much? Approximately 2 times or 2.5 times. Here the number becomes how much? 4.5 times. It is just like saying if I multiply a 2 with 5, the number should become how much? 10 times of the original. This is just like I am starting off with the question without solving the question, and I am just trying to gauge what could be the correct answer among the given options. So all you were supposed to understand here is, had you known this, assuming that you knew this, the answer will be 10 times of the original value. So if the original value is 10,000, if I take 10 times of it, that means the answer should be very close to a 1 lakh, which it is. How is this a 1 lakh? I just need to count the number of digits. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and then 6. Right? I hope you understood this. Talking about the next question. The square of a 3-digit number HTU gives me how many digits? The answer lies in the basic. If you would have seen my video on a 3-digit number being multiplied by a 3-digit number, these compartments themselves decide the correct answer. How many compartments will you make? So you have one engine and then you have 4 bogies. This itself speaks about what? If I have one engine and if I have 4 bogies, the minimum count of digits that I can get in this multiplication are 5. Now what if here, now when I find the final answer, how will I get the final answer? I start from this side and go on this side. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You get 5 digits only when h square is a single digit number. Now if h square can be a double digit number also, right? If you recall, I had asked you in one of my videos, what is the maximum value that you can get in the engine's place, in the middle place, and then thereafter? Why was that question given? So that you could have attempted this question easily. Though it was on 2 digits. The same rule applies here for 3 digits as well. So what is the understanding finally? If I multiply a 3-digit number with another 3-digit number, how many digits can I get? I will get either 5 digits or 6 digits. So what could be another approach here? So I will say this is the basic way of approaching it. What is the best possible way here? The best possible way here is take a minimum possible 3-digit number, which is how much? 100 into 100. Now 100 into 100 gives me how much? 10,000. This gives you how many digits? 5 digits. What is the maximum possible 3-digit number that you can take? A 999 and a 999. So this gives you the answer as how much? 998001. So how many? So you'll get either 5 digits or 6 digits. This is the best possible way of approaching the same question. Before I move on to question number 8B, which is nothing but the extension to the same question, I would talk about another question which is connected with 8A. Now 9A is connected with 8A only. Okay. So now when I talk about 9A, I have not written the answer here. Have I written the answer anywhere here? No. Why? Because it is no different from question number 8A. right? Now, why is it not different? Because they are basically talking about a plus b plus c whole square, which is just like saying ABC into ABC, which is just like saying a 3-digit number being multiplied with another 3-digit number will give you how many terms? So here you need to ensure, you can just count the number of terms from here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 terms is what you're going to get, is the answer. Hope you have understood. Talking about 8th B. Okay. So when I talk about this question, it talks about the largest possible 3-digit number n, the square of which gives me minimum possible digits. Find out the value of n and d. Okay. So they are asking you to find out which is the maximum possible. Okay. It is talking about the largest possible 3-digit number n, which gives you minimum possible digits. So since we have already talked about a largest possible, I know a 3-digit number when multiplied with another 3-digit number will give me what? 5 digits or 6 digits? Between them, which one is lesser? 5. So it is basically talking about a largest possible 3-digit number, the square of which should give me minimum possible digits. So the value of d comes out to be how much? The value of d comes out to be 5 in that case, doing the same reasoning as we have done earlier. Now the question arises here is, I can use the logic as I have used in question 8a to solve question B, 8b. How? I know what is the smallest possible, number that I can take. Naturally it is 100, but why have I taken a 300? Because 300 whole square gives me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Had I taken a 400 square here, it would have given me 6 digits. So I'll take a 300 whole square to come down to this step, which is just like saying this, and then I use this formula to expand this, which I have expanded here. So when I expand 3tu whole square, where 3 is my hundredths digit, t is my tenths digit, and u is my units digit. After expanding, I need to ensure that this should give me what? This should give me only 5 digits. So when I see this, it tells me if I take the value of t as 2, which is the tenths digit as 2, it gives me a 12. Now 12, the tenths digit of 12 naturally has to be carried over here. In that case, the count of digits no longer remains a 5, it becomes 6. So from here you are able to say that the value of t will always be 1. Once you have said this, this now changes to this. Now in this case, you need to ensure that this should give me a 5-digit number only. So this will give me a 5-digit number only dependent on this value, which is this value 6u plus 1. Okay, so when I find out the value of 6u plus 1, I need to ensure that either there should be no carryover here, or even if there is a carryover, the carryover should not change the count of digits here to a double count, because in that case, the tenth digit gets carried over here. In short, what are we trying to say? 6u plus 1 should be lesser than what? It should be lesser than a 40. Why 40? Because this 4 should get carried over here, which it shouldn't. So it should be less than a 40. Once you reason this out, you will get the value of u as 6. So in that case, what is the number n? Can I say the number n here is 316 square? The value of n here is 316, the square of which gives you minimum possible digits. You could have had 4 different questions here. What are the 4 different questions here that you could have had? Give me a minimum possible number, a 3-digit number, the square of which gives me minimum possible digits, which is a 317 whole square. Give me a maximum possible 3-digit number, the square of which gives me minimum possible digits, which in any case you have found it out. Right? Or they could have asked you a question, give me a maximum possible 3-digit number, the square of which gives me a maximum possible digits, which is what? A 999 whole square. Right? Coming down to question number 10th. Now it is no different from the earlier questions that we have done. The only thing here is this question number 7th was on profit, and this is a question on discounts. So if I am getting 2 discounts, I will subtract it from 100%, multiply, and then eventually I'll subtract whatever answer I am getting here, I'll subtract it from 100%. So once I do this, I get the final answer as 199.9. I hope this is understood. You need to spend some time here trying to understand the kind of solutions that have been given to you, because it will fairly help you in any kind of a testing format. Last but not the least, talking about question number 10th B part. Now this is a question that the explanation of which I am leaving it to you, but the answer here is 4 possibilities, and I have worked out all possible cases. How and why? Please check out. So spend some time on this trying to understand that here we are talking about the unique outcomes. I am talking about the square of a double digit number. We are talking about the square of a double digit number, and then you are finding out the digital roots. Correct? Now how many digital root possibilities will you get? You will not say that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now when I say how many digital root possibilities, there are cases which are getting repeated. So there will be only 4 possibilities. Hope you liked the questions and the solutions given to you. Please remember that there are only 2 ways of solving a question, and when you are attempting a question thereafter, I mean in your subsequent assignments, please ensure that you screen the questions first, spend somewhere around 1 to 1.5 minutes in selecting the right kind of a question to be attempted by you in that possible time, right? And watch the videos minutely, because you can be tested on anything. Okay, if you liked this video and if you really feel that something informative has been discussed here, please do not forget to like, share and subscribe to our channel. If you have already done so, please click on the bell icon and select all so that you start receiving updates from us. Thank you so much. Until next time we meet, goodbye.